Hello viewers, my name is Chase Clover, and I know this is a late review. This is Saturday, and I will be at the Intensity tapings in Brooklyn, New York. I will actually be in the Intensity tapings until they come back in Hartford, and even then I'll be watching them more frequently. But I'll try to make it to every USW event I can until it comes back to Hartford, because when it comes back to Hartford, I'll make it to every Intensity that they put on again, like I normally did. But I know this is a late review, but this is my review on the August 6, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. This is Intensity number 82. We are 4 weeks away until Capital Carnage 2014. The show was not bad. It was actually pretty good. I would end up giving it maybe 3 stars. It was decent. I liked what they did with the Extreme title picture, with possibly the Blue Belt title picture. I like what they did with the International title picture. Well, they didn't do too much. I like what they did with the tag titles. The tag title picture. I like what they did hyping up the world title match and the USW title match, and I like what they did with some of the rivalries. It was a very good show, and it was very well thought out. There was some points where even I know, and I've heard from Hardy himself, that the show has ended up being changed, mostly because of the audience's reaction to the performers there. Like, I know Seth got a few spots cut out from him because of the way the fans reacted to him at Outcast and his title win. So USW, I like how they played it safe, but I don't really like how they had to change up the show because of the fans. But anyway, let's get into the review. We open up the show with Enigma coming out and celebrating the USW title win, and then Derek Carter comes out and Derek Carter doesn't come out. He doesn't come out later. Then Enigma talks about how Derek Carter will probably want a USW title match, and there's gonna get one at Capital Carnage. And then he goes on. But really what was supposed to happen, and once again, I've heard this from Zach Hardy, it was supposed to be Seth coming out and celebrating the world title win, and then Capital coming out and doing something, whatever. But because Seth did not have a good reaction to his title win this past Sunday, they had to cancel it because of the crowd's reaction to him and the boos that he got at Outcast, which USW really has never experienced troubles such as having one of their good guys get booed. I mean, that's something that like mostly WWE, that's something mostly they have trouble with. Like when they had Batista getting booed, when they had now that they have John Cena being booed for like 2 years straight. I know they're used to it, but this is something that USW is really not used to, and I really haven't seen happen since, I believe, Tap Out, when Zach Hardy beat Morbid in like their rematch or whatever, and they both got booed. That's really the first time since then that I've seen that and noticed that. So that's the first time in like 3 months, and even back then that was like one of the firsts ever. And USW is really not used to having their good guy performers be booed by the audience, and they're definitely not used to the bad guy performers being cheered by the audience. So, hopefully that's not a turn in the road where USW is forced to have to regroup, because, because they're not used to that, and, they would have troubles, and especially with their booking. So, let's hope that they don't take a bad route and just dissolve. But anyway, Seth had to get his thing cancelled because he was booed by the audience for winning the title against Capital at Outcast. So They changed it up to Enigma, and Enigma carried it very well. Talking about how Derek Carter wasn't able to lay a single move on him, and he really handled it well. So I give Enigma credit for that, or Zach Hardy credit for that. He's the only performer where I can really give credit for that. And by the way, I believe starting this upcoming Wednesday, I will be doing reviews right after, right after Intensity finishes airing, after it gets taped, and pretty much while the Intensity is being seen online. I will be doing it in the backstage area because I will be a backstage VIP. So I will be able to do a review and get it out on Wednesday night, either that or like maybe midnight and very, very early at Thursday morning, so around there. And I will not release the review until after Intensity goes off air, so just know that. But anyways, Enigma handled it very well, and I'll get on to the first match, so that way I don't bore you, or whatever. The first match was Titanfall beating Crimson Red, the Extreme Champion, and afterwards MC4 attempted to attack Crimson Red, but Titanfall ended up making the save and getting MC4 to flee. And what that is looking like, because afterwards, I think it's later on in the night. No, yes, later on in the night, Titanfall ends up challenging MC4 to a number 1 contenders match next week, which is something that's really cool because you now have Titanfall possibly in the Extreme Championship picture, which I was talking about, I believe, last week or a few weeks ago. If you look back at my Intensity review from last week, then you probably will know what I'm talking about. But now they're doing something with Titanfall, which is really good because Titanfall is a great character. He's a great performer. He hasn't really gotten any chances to really prove himself worthy, so this may be his opportunity. So I would try his hardest, if I were him, to get that championship picture, and winning a championship for the first time in his career would be a major boost for him. And it looks like USW is starting to use every one of their performers in a different way, because you have performers that you haven't heard from in a while. I mean, besides the Battle Royal like last week, you have people like Titanfall you haven't seen in a while, BP Fierce, you have Ezra Kills and Benny Franklin now in a championship picture. You have, let's see, you have Dustin Raymond, who you hadn't seen for a while. Alex, by the way, actually was there tonight. You haven't seen Philip Akron in a while. Simon Saint in quite a while. And you haven't seen TJ Wilbur. You haven't seen those two for a while. And you haven't seen Chain Reaction and Indigo Child for a while. So, that's pretty cool. And, yeah, so, whoop-de-doo. Looks like they're using the performers well. You do have other performers like, Rushing Air and others, like Bay W, that's on your roster but aren't being used too often or well because, you know, of their talent, such as Jameson Royal and Jose Ramirez or something like that. But anyway, using Titanfall in this kind of picture is a great way to get him boosted up into, even with this minor, like the worst singles championship, him going for that will at least put some kind of credit in his career rep sheet. So I'm looking forward to Titanfall winning the Extreme Championship somewhere down the line. If he can get that opportunity and get that win, that'll be very good for his career. And I see now that Titanfall is a face, hopefully, possibly, because of him saving Crimson Red, who is a face, against MC4, who is a heel. So it looks like Titanfall is a face. So if you were to have him win the match next week, then it would be a face versus face, but I would feel like MC4 would get involved in the match, because you can't really have a face and a face, or heel versus heel without having something, you know, help out that match, or something involved in that match. But anyway, yeah, Titanfall being used in this picture, once again, is very good, and very, very smart. So, after that was an interview with Capital about him and losing the title at Outcast. After that was the second match, and it was Anarchy beating BP Fierce. I think he's won 2 out of 3 times, so, afterwards, Ash tries to attack Anarchy, or attacks Anarchy, and then BP Fierce saves Anarchy and attacks Ash. So there you look like it's another Titanfall situation where BP Fierce may be in the Blue Belt Championship picture. Now I know you may be wondering, if you haven't watched Intensity for a while, or USW in a while, you may be thinking, why is BP Fierce in the Blue Belt title picture and not the Extreme title picture? And that's because BP Fierce has won the Blue Belt title before. He was a bigger name than Titanfall, still is a bigger name than Titanfall, and is more experienced than Titanfall. So they would give the less experienced performer a lesser achievement, and give the more experienced performer and the better performer a better path to take. So anyway, putting BP Fierce in this rivalry is a good move and a bad move, because, you know, the good move is you can shake up your Blue Belt Championship picture, so you can have actual contenders, and you can have, instead of having just 2 performers fight for the title, you can have other performers as well, and go back to those early Blue Belt title days when, you know, the championship would change hands to different performers. That was really clever, that was really cool, and, yeah, I enjoyed it back then, and I would enjoy it if they happen again. But here's the problem. Ash and Anarchy are very good rivals. They can hold this rivalry for a while. They know how to capitalize on mistakes, and they know very well what to do when it comes to strengthening a rivalry. And if I had to guess, I would have thought that Ash and Anarchy would fight until maybe Bulletproof, and then they would have other championship contenders. But then again, Bulletproof is like 4 pay-per-views away. Well, yeah. And, you know, Ash and Anarchy could have had a few more months as rivals just for the title, and then you could have added people in, but I think you could have had Ash and Anarchy really contend for that title back and forth. And I think it could have been a better version of the Extreme title a few months ago. I think it could have been a better version and a better path, because, you know, Ash and Anarchy have a more interesting rivalry than Crimson Red and MC4 had a few months ago. So I think this could have worked, whereas the Extreme title picture wasn't really working. But I think it was a good idea to use BP Fierce, because now you have other contenders, and you can really get Ash and Anarchy to try to get that contendership, and that's what really puts the cherry on top on this rivalry. After that, we had Outcast 2014 highlights, and afterwards you had the third match, which was Gringo with Fernandez in his corner, beating Western Light with Margigetta in his corner, and, well, Gringo won, but he did not win cleanly, which puts down the rivalry, because you really want Gringo to win cleanly, so that way he has hype, and so does Fernandez, going into the pay-per-view 4 weeks away, and they have strength going in through the weeks. So, not a good idea on the way to end, because it ended up being Fernandez did something like distracting Western Light or something like that, and Gringo picked up the win. Oh, no, it was Gringo tossing Gringo tossing Western Light into the steps, and then getting in the ring, and then Fernandez did something which kept, he did something and kept Western Light from getting in the ring, and then he got counted out, so Gringo won by countout. Not a great way to end the match, but afterwards, as we would have expected, Margigetta challenged Fernandez to a tables match for the International Championship at Capital Carnage. I would have expected a singles match, but I guess they have a tables match in play, which is pretty cool. Pretty interesting as well. And I'm looking forward to it because, you know, the last tables match we had was Alex versus Capital for the world title at Hardcore Heaven, which wasn't too long ago, but it was a very good ending, and it was a very confusing ending because Capital hit the bro kick and knocked Alex through the table somehow. That worked, but I'm expecting something like Fernandez to do a high rope move, or Margigetta to... Well, I'm also expecting the managers to get involved, because being as there's no disqualifications, that's gonna be pretty easy for the managers to get involved, and it's going to be easy for the performers, being as they have help. Unless the managers get banned from ringside, I feel like this is going to be pretty much similar to a tag team match. But anyways, tables match, interesting. Looking forward to it. Afterwards was an interview with Derek Carter. Then the fourth match on the card was Prophecy with Cannon in his corner, beating Ezra and Hills with Benny Franklin in his corner. And then afterwards, Benny Franklin hit Cannon in the head with a chair, and then Franklin and Hills fleed, which I'm pretty sure is going to lead up to a tag team match at Capital Carnage for the titles. That was smart on the case of this rivalry, because you have at least something that would put some kind of hype into this rivalry. And it's a new rivalry, so it could get fans to really be interested in the rivalry. And based on what I saw tonight, or last night, well, last Wednesday, TJ and Wilbur, and also Chain Reaction and Indigo Child have, a pretty strong tag team, so I feel like they could be in the title picture. I think Fernandez and Gringo, if they get out of the international title picture, they can get back in the tag title picture, but, anyway, yeah, hopefully they don't do anything with Dwayne Porter, Switchblade, Blade, or Dustin Raymond towards the tag titles, because that would be bad for the titles. But anyway, back on this rivalry, having Franklin and Hills flee as Cannon and Prophecy, kind of stand there and watch them flee, kind of puts strength towards Gringo, towards Cannon and Prophecy, because now you have them just having a cheap shot and then fleeing away, kind of like they don't want to handle the situation. Well, they don't want to get into a fight or whatever. They're kind of running away from a fight and trying to hold it off, which is something you see, many times. But anyways, afterwards, Enigma beat down Derek Carter with an electric bug zapper. That was the first weapon he used when he made his Intensity debut. He zapped James to Thursday. He zapped James into next Thursday, or next Wednesday. And, I'm glad to see the electric bug zapper come back into play. That was pretty cool. And then afterwards was the fifth match, and it was Dwayne Porter and Switchblade, with Switchblade in his corner, beating Blade with Dustin Raymond in his corner. Again, with the managers, it's not really great. That was the third manager match in a row. There were only two singles matches, real singles matches, which was, kind of bad. But anyway, yeah, that's it. It's not really a rivalry that I want to talk about, and it's not going to be at all. Afterwards, Titanfall challenged MC4 to a number 1 contenders match for the Extreme Championship next week, which will be very exciting to watch. God damn it, stop jumping the ramp in place. Which was pretty cool. You expected that kind of, sort of. I'll be right back. Anyway, guys, let me get back into this. You kind of expected, after, what happened earlier in the show, to see that Titanfall would challenge MC4, or it would actually be in the picture. Surprisingly enough, BP Fierce was not in for the rest of the night. I feel like they're gonna do something next week with BP Fierce and the Blue Belt title, but, you just gotta wait and see. Afterwards was the sixth match, and it was Alex and Philip Akron beating George Martin and Simon Saint in a tag team match. Afterwards, Alex challenged George Martin to a cage match at Capital Carnage 2014, so you have two matches that are no disqualification based at Capital Carnage, which is something that really hypes up the pay-per-view, especially considering it's one of your biggest pay-per-views. I'm looking forward to it. You're going to see a lot of chaos in that match. I look forward to it. And then afterwards, you had an interview with Seth. Then you had your seventh match on the card, the main event. Enigma, Seth, TJ, and Wilbur beat Derek Carter, Capital, Chain Reaction, and Indigo Child. That is a match that I am looking forward. Well, that I looked forward to, and that I really enjoyed. The TJ and Wilbur making the return, Chain Reaction and Indigo Child coming back after a while away. You also had the USW title picture and the USW World title picture in this match as well. 8-man tag team match. The thing was, it was an 8-man elimination tables match. That was awesome. And, you had, I believe it was, I think it was Indigo Child, no. I think it was Indigo Child, no, it was Chain Reaction eliminating TJ, then Wilbur beating Indigo Child, then Chain Reaction beating Wilbur, and then Wilbur used Indigo Child to eliminate Chain Reaction. And then I think it was Seth got eliminated by Capital, and then it was 2-on-1, and then Enigma eliminated Capital, and then eliminated Derek Carter, and then Derek Carter was down, and then Capital tried to attack Seth, but Capital got speared by Enigma, and this is confirmed, Enigma is officially a face again. Zach Hardy is a good guy once again, which is something that I was looking forward to seeing and that I knew was going to happen sooner or later. And then afterwards, Derek Carter tried to attack Enigma, and then they went to the top of the Titantron, and for the second time, are you kidding me? Afterwards, Derek Carter got thrown off the top of the Titantron, and then Enigma Swanton Bomb onto Derek Carter. Enigma got back up because it was not as big as a fall as he did against Capital a few months ago, or a month or two ago. But it was a good ending to the show, and it was not scripted for Enigma to attack Derek Carter like that. So that's the second time that he did something like that, and that's not something that Kyle Reese would like. But it's Enigma, Zach Hardy. You can't go wrong with him. Anyway, guys, that was pretty cool. I liked the show. Thanks for watching, guys. This was my review on the August 6, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. Remember, guys, to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Chase Clover, signing off.